Ridiculous.
Yo, welcome. It's been a minute.
Been a minute.
Yes,
Damn.
but this is it. We're back. We're gonna be back in a good way. We got a full show today. We got a lot of topics to talk about
Teamwork.
as well. We're gonna cover the NBA. We're gonna cover some UFC. We're gonna talk about the NFL draft. And this past weekend, Easter weekend, we had the Masters. We're gonna just talk a little bit about that as well. Boys, what's up? It's good to be back.
It was a good sports weekend this past weekend, and I think we're in line for a couple of good sports weekends here coming up with the NBA playoffs and some other sports popping up with NHL. So, but to answer your question, Justin, everything's been good. I'm just glad to be back with you guys. Glad to see your faces on the screen.
I'm sharing it. That's what I'm sharing it on the socials. So if you'll have social media, obviously go hit us up. I just shared it. But yeah, man, it's fucking good to be back. I'm excited. We haven't done the show all together in a minute. We're still waiting for Ben. He'll be on a little bit for everybody that came on to watch Ben. He'll be on a little bit. Don't worry. He's just getting nice and dolled up for y'all. But I mean, let's just get into it because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So what's
all
the
right?
first
Well,
thing?
this is the show. It's the Freestyle Thursday because we're not talking about one thing. We're talking about a lot of things.
True variety show.
And yeah, it's a true variety show. And let's get the UFC going because that's what happened Saturday. And it was, the middleweight championship on the line. And we also had Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns. And I got some takeaways from UFC 287. And I got to ask you guys, with the first takeaway, did the UFC rush Raul Rosas Jr.? Roland, give it to us. Did they rush this kid? 18 years old, still in high school? Was the stage too big for him?
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's just the name of the game now. We're seeing guys, who've been training MMA, from a younger age, so they're getting into the UFC at younger ages. It's just I think the coming of age with this whole sport. I don't think they rushed them. That's the name of the game in the UFC. If you have potential, you show it, and you show it early. They're going to put you on that path, especially if you know how to talk a little bit, get some views on your videos. They're going to try and push you. Raul Rojas, he checked all those boxes, or Rosas, excuse me. He checked all those boxes. So, no, I don't think they rushed him. It just sucks that he got dominated the way that he did. He needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
Ron, you're a Sean O'Malley guy. Sean O'Malley recently said, hey, Raul needs to take 2 years off and just get better. Do you agree with that sentiment? Should he take some time off and just work on his craft? Because maybe there's a little bit too much of a gap between him and the real contenders of the weight class?
100%, man. 100%. They did totally rush Raul Rosas in. Not everybody's Conor McGregor is the example that I'm going to use. Not that they rush Conor McGregor in, but somebody who has the whole package, doesn't come around often. Raul Rosas wasn't ready. We clearly saw the guy he fought was he 35? He was a veteran. I mean, top 10 maybe, but definitely somebody that he should have rolled over. They gave him a stepping stone to get to the top. But we saw the same thing with Sage Northcutt as well. Who's somebody else that they rushed and they just didn't live up to the potential.
Chase Hooper, the guy that had like the Ben Askren haircut.
Yeah,
that's the guy they rushed after the Dana White Contender Series and kind of fell off a little bit.
I mean, for the UFC, the storyline is there. Teenager, they bring in his race being Hispanic. They made a whole commercial about him, pre-fight, going to Mexico and, going to all the churches. I mean, it was huge. It was a whole movement, especially with the most recent Mexican champions. I think the UFC now has 2 or 3, but definitely did rush him into it. He wasn't ready. His stand-up was trash. He was just trying to take down, his opponent all first, second, and third round. And then he got tired. He gassed out. And now he's going to have to go to the bottom of the barrel again and work his way up.
I think he has time on his side, though. 18 years old, 18 years young. He's going to be able to work himself back up. I would take O'Malley's advice. Take a year off, go train, and, maybe even work with some new trainers. I think the method and the game plan they had for him, that pace was almost too impossible to keep up. And he doesn't seem like he has the stand-up game for the UFC. He keeps chasing the takedown, and he caught a knee to the face, chasing that down. So I think absolutely taking some time off would be best for him and working on his
He's got
craft.
the chin to take those knees though.
No
He's
pun
got the
intended
chin.
or pun intended there.
Wow.
Nah, I'm
Oy,
just
oy, oy.
saying he's got
Yeah.
the chin, bro. He's got the
He's
chin.
got the chin.
I'm just saying.
Hey, what up, boys? What up, boys? I'm here to crash the party, and right away I'm going to disagree. How did the UFC rush Raul Rosas? Who do we expect him
That's
to
what I'm
fight?
saying. Yeah, I don't think they rushed him.
They definitely did not rush him. I mean, this was a lower level guy. The guy even missed weight. Somebody who's fought in the UFC, only a couple of times. It's not like they were giving him a top 15 guy or another big prospect. He just simply has that Merab Dvalishvili game plan, and he just doesn't have the gas tank for it. We saw him getting manhandled after he gassed in that first round. Seems like he shot his arms out with that choke. He was really trying to get that choke in that first round. Lactic acid all through his arms after that. And, I mean, he was shooting some sloppy takedowns, bro. I'm talking about diving for ankles.
But I also think there's a sentiment, like, people get salty that he's also in a pay-per-view spot, too,
Chris
like
Curtis was very outspoken about that.
Yeah, so, like, people are salty from that perspective, too. I think that's coming into play here more than anything, more than the whole Russian thing.
And I'm not going to front. Like, I had money on him. I think we all had money. I mean, I don't want to put everybody's business out there, but I think that we all had Rosas in some sort of parlay because we kind of believed.
I took the other guy plus 200.
Okay, well, there you go. The sharp Ronnie. But I think we all kind of believed that he was a parlay piece for the most part and that it was a stepping stone, that they were building him up slowly. I don't think that this was more than he could have handled. I just think the game plan was whack.
Fair.
No,
all right.
I mean, I guess maybe rush the
decision
that he is on the pay-per-view. So
yeah, we're split on this. I think it's 2-2 on this if they rushed him or not.
Split decision.
Let's get to number 4 here. Gilbert Burns gives an ultimatum and it works. Gilbert said, Dana, release me from the UFC. If the next welterweight championship, I'm not at least the backup for that fight. And Dana said, I agree. Is this deserved?
y'all can jump in on that one.
It seems like it's the new wave. It seems like Dana promised Kobe that shot and then he went out and said in the press conference that Kobe even weighed in as the backup, kind of like deeming like, oh, that's his rite of passage for the belt because he weighed in as the backup. I think anybody would have lined up to weigh in as the backup and get paid to be a backup fighter. So Gilbert Burns right away, I mean, he wasted no time. He said, hey, I either want the title shot or I want to be the backup fighter or else release me. He wasn't going to get released, right? But, I mean, the guy has been a pretty good company man for the UFC. So here goes Dana White and says, hey, Gilbert, you're the backup. And again, leaves Bilal Muhammad, on the bleachers and the outside looking in like that SpongeBob meme.
Just
looking
keep
through the window.
overlooking Bilal.
Poor guy.
I hate it, bro. Hey, shout out to the chat too, boys. We got a couple
We
people.
got Alex in here too. We got Diego. We got Jeremy Raw. We got Eddie. We got Josh.
But I mean, let's not act like, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's not act like Gilbert Burns though is like some inactive fighter that hasn't been doing his thing. He stepped on a sword. I mean, he fought Hamzat. Not a lot of people were lining up to fight him,
and he fought back in the rankings,
he
fighting
fought,
him.
Yeah, he was there. He took the challenge against him. I'm not too upset with the decision to do that. I'm glad that he did it from his perspective. I'm happy that he's getting the shot. But like Ben said, that's just the wave in the UFC at the moment. So can't be too surprised.
Yeah,
I think I'm a little sour on this, like Ben mentioned, because Bilal does get passed up here, and Gilbert Burns, I'm not sure deserves the title shot next after beating a man who's been on a 4-fight losing streak in Masvidal. So I think Bilal might be a more worthy name. But it seems like Bilal is understanding the game a little more, and he's saying, I'm willing to come up to 185 to fight these guys now because it seems like I'm not getting the action at 170.
And
yeah. And here we have in the comments, Diego saying not a fan of Burns' wrestling style fights. Roland, Ron, what do y'all think of the fight in general? I mean, we saw the outcome, but did you think that the fight lived up to the hype? Was it a good, going out fight for Masvidal? What did y'all think of the fight in general?
Bro, the fight was trash. It sucked. Like it looked like a setup to me. Like honestly, it was like Gilbert's gonna win, but George isn't gonna get knocked out or get tapped out. It looked like a WWE thing to me, man. Like straight up, it really did. It's like it was literally a game plan. Masvidal comes out a little strong. Second round they trade a little bit more. Then Gilbert comes around, and kind of just puts a nail in the coffin in the third. There was a lot of chances I thought where Gilbert caught him and he didn't continue. To me, it was just set up. I mean, Masvidal goes out on his flag, retires, in front of his home crowd. So the fight definitely did not live up to a co-main event for a pay-per-view, especially on an Izzy card. But that's kind of my review on it. I just wanted fireworks and I didn't get a lot.
Do you agree, Roland?
I mean, I kind of agree from the standpoint that maybe Burns wasn't trying to put him out a little bit. I think he proved his point because I mean, I don't think he went out there and just wrestled. He didn't really wrestle until the end of the fight to really just, ensure and get the fight in the bag and, say, hey, I got this one. But when they were standing up, the only thing that Masvidal was doing was smiling and telling him to hit him again because he had no chance at returning any fire. There was just a clear difference in quickness, that night. So, Burns, he did what he had to do. He knew he was never really a threat with Masvidal. Masvidal maybe got a shot or two in there that was like, okay, he's there. But I mean, you can just tell Masvidal, he wears it, in terms of his age when he went out there on Saturday night. You can tell he was every bit of his age. And that's because I think Burns might be a little bit older than Masvidal. So that was the other thing I was going to say. I'm glad that Burns, he knows his time's ticking. So he's like, hey, I need a title shot. So that's the other aspect of the call out that I like.
Masvidal just has the miles on him. I mean, 20 years in the game.
He wears
52 fights.
Yeah, this is those fighters that just stay in a little too long. I mean, he caught lightning in a bottle with that 2019 run and all that. Yeah. Justin, what did you think about him honestly admitting, I just don't feel the same when I come in here? Usually, you'll hear guys like Tyron Woodley make excuses. You'll hear a lot of guys blame this and blame that. Masvidal, I didn't expect it, but hey, people say he's a real G. He straight up said it. Like, it just doesn't feel the same in here. I don't feel like I have it. He looked much slower than Gilbert Burns in there. What do you think about the honesty from him?
No, he kept it real, and I think that's cool on his end. I don't think he was trying to sell the fight to the fans afterwards that he still had some fight in him. I think honestly what it came down to was he took this fight because he didn't want Kobe to be his last. I think that's, really bothered him. And it seems like it still bothers him because he keeps bringing Kobe's name up. It's still, it's still something that gets to him up until this day.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm with you on the whole. He didn't want Kobe to be his last. I mean, it was Miami. What better way to retire than at home?
A big paycheck, right? I mean,
paycheck
Miami,
and big gate. Now. You heard the numbers.
But the thing is, like, even after what happened fight week with Kevin Holland, he could have gotten another bag fighting Kevin Holland after this. You know what I mean? And Kevin Holland would have put George Masvidal's name under his belt because who doesn't want to do that? That's kind of like how Jeremy says Burns is tough. He can bang and wrestle. Can't blame Burns for Masvidal being washed. At this point, Masvidal was just that name that you got to get some rep and, recognition in the UFC.
Well, that's going to move us over to our third topic, which is George Masvidal's well-timed retirement. Ben did jump the gun on it, but since we're talking about it already, any other things you want to talk about?
He foreshadowed a little bit. He didn't jump the gun.
That's a seamless transition, Justin.
Segue, bro.
It wasn't very seamless.
You were short on the slide, bro. You were short.
Right. Yeah, like we all said, Masvidal was clearly washed out there. So, well-timed retirement. He doesn't need to stay out there any longer than he has to. Getting a retirement fight against somebody that he can maybe beat, and then he still ends up losing that fight, and then, having to throw his gloves down like that. So at least he goes down, in front of his home crowd. Well-timed for sure.
Ron, you okay with the retirement?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wanted to watch this guy fight anymore, pretty much. I mean, this was kind of the last one where you're like, and you knew it was going to happen. It was in Miami. He hadn't been putting up great performances. We saw he didn't put up a great performance. Being in Miami, I would have thought, hey, maybe go out with a little bit more of a bang, shoot for the fence, swing for the fences. But then I thought, you know what? He's not going to do that because Burns is a counter striker and he doesn't want to get dropped and embarrassed in his last fight. I mean, good career. I mean, this guy, as everybody knows, was in backyards, fighting with Kimbo Slice. So this guy literally lived the American dream from, coming from, somewhere else, to America and then fighting in backyards and going in the UFC. I mean, his story was there. The cherry was on top and great, round of applause for him. But I'm not going to be upset if I never see George Masvidal fight again.
Sounds like you don't want to see Gilbert either that much after that performance.
He did say it was just straight up boring fight. I mean, I think that it was kind of long overdue. We saw, the Diaz brothers now exiting. George Masvidal was one of those last, guys of that OG. Jim Miller's still out there. Jim Miller outliving all these guys. But yeah, man, good career for Masvidal. He's got the whole boxing thing going on. I don't know if anybody in the comments, I know some of us here saw the purses that he's paying for those boxing matches.
Pretty impressive.
I don't know why he wouldn't just lace up the pillows and box in his own promotion for one of those type of paydays, bro. But yeah, man, hats off to Masvidal.
I think him and Nate Diaz could do something in a boxing match that would sell pretty well.
There you go. Or Nick.
See, there's some foreshadowing, maybe.
All right, number 2, the second biggest takeaway: Israel Adesanya saves his legacy. Guys, do you agree with the sentiment? Him finally getting rid of his boogeyman, the monkey on his shoulder, is it that saving his legacy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was a Hail Mary. I think that if anybody watching the fight kind of thought, okay, this is where Pereira looks like he's taking over. No calf kicks were taking a toll on Adesanya, man. His leg was pretty beat up. He was backed up against the fence. We usually see him swaying side to side in that position, and that's where he gets caught. Usually gets caught by Pereira's left hook. But here he just said, "I'm gonna fight my way out of this instead of run my way out of this." And Pereira was opening up, knee to the body, knee to the head. No defense at all from Pereira. He was going for the kill there. It was a perfect counter shot. I mean, talk about landing on the button, bro. I definitely think that it was a Hail Mary. It was Izzy's Super Bowl. I don't know where he would have gone from there besides moving up in weight. And now we see that Pereira already moved up in weight. So I think, was this a legacy saver? I don't know if people would say his legacy wasn't good just because he couldn't beat one guy. You know what I mean? But this definitely.
But I think they would remember him for not being able to beat that one guy. I think that would be his story because he's made it his story.
That's DC, bro. I mean, it's DC in a different weight class, but people still hold DC to this champion and this great, one of the top guys.
Yeah, but he's not on Mount Rushmore though. DC.
You don't think Izzy is?
Well, not yet. Maybe not yet. I don't think a lot of people would say he is. He's still 1-1 against the guy. We'll get to that later. But go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, no, I just think that at this point now with Pereira moving weight divisions, and Dana kind of hinted that it was going to happen, win or lose for Pereira, prior to the fight. I think that now, what's left for Izzy? He's cleaned out that whole division. Robert Whittaker had all his fingers, his damn toes crossed. They showed him watching the live stream. Yeah. He couldn't believe because what does that do for Robert Whittaker? What's he going to do? Fight Izzy again? That I think this stamps it. He might have been considered.
They let Max fight Volk 3 times. Why not let Robert fight one more? Those fights are competitive as all get out.
I think for now it was a legacy saver because all the talk before the fight was this is Izzy's last chance at Alex Pereira. He was the one with the monkey on his back. He's the one that you saw how happy he was after he got the knockout, and rightfully so. But
I didn't believe he did it.
Yeah, he was the one that was down 3-0, about to get swept in the all-time series between these two. So he did save his legacy for the time being because now, in terms of UFC, they're still 1-1. So he can still live with himself a little bit there. You don't have to count the kickboxing losses that he has to Pereira. But I think for now he saved his legacy. Hopefully they do meet again. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, it was a legacy saver. I mean, it was the biggest monkey on the back for sure. Because if he loses this fight, what does Izzy has to go to 205 from there. But what if Pereira wants to go up to 205 himself and be a double champ after he beats out Izzy? So where does Izzy go? That's.
I couldn't believe he was busting out those dance moves after all the damage he took to that leg kick. Maybe his whole thing was he was playing possum.
Well, I don't believe that. People are saying he was playing possum.
I don't believe the whole rope-a-dope, bro. You could see him wearing the damage. Ron, what do you think here? Izzy, was it a Hail Mary? Is the monkey off of his back? Well, what are we thinking?
I mean, I think dude's trash anyway. I'm not a big Izzy fan, bro. Dude, if you don't know, let's just be straight up. If you've never won 2 belts in each weight class or held 2 belts, you're not even there. You're not even considered to be a GOAT. He went, he tried it, and he lost. All this proves to me is that he beat a guy who kicked his ass, and now they're 1-1. I mean, yes, he had a lot of title defenses. I think he's 3rd all time in defending his title, but he's not a fighter that I love to see. And usually the guys that are the GOATs of all time are fighters that have this crazy strike or they have this attitude where you just like them. I don't think he's a good champion. I don't think that his demeanor outside of the ring, for interviews and stuff, is very good. Did it save to get to the question? Does it save his legacy? I don't know if his legacy was gonna be that big in UFC history. Is my opinion. That's why I mean, it really doesn't. Have
People are
a lot
turned
of
off
weight.
by Izzy. That
No,
happens.
But listen, the comment section seems to kind of be agreeing with Ron. Either they're gassing him up to try and get us to go viral, or
No, it's a
just
50-50. I've seen people
Izzy
saying
just
that Izzy
doesn't
hate
have
is
many
bonkers. I saw
fans.
Alex saying that.
I think Izzy split. For me, Izzy turned me off because he talked a lot of shit early on, and his once he got the belt and stuff, but then he just became a point fighter after that. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was talking crap, like he was about to knock people out every time he went in the ring, and then he turned into a point fighter all of a sudden, and he was just going to 5 rounds. Like, I was falling asleep during some of his fights. No offense to him.
I think that's the point to be made here, Roland, is that he does say that he's gonna knock people out, and then he point fights. And in this case, he finally did come through and knock somebody out. So I think that does save his legacy in the middleweight division quite a bit.
Dude, Diego in the chat. I legit disagree with every word Ron just said.
Hey, I agree with the Diego.
Is he entertaining AF?
All right, let's move to the last one here,
bro.
The last takeaway here, and let me get these things so everyone can see what it says. Does the trilogy need to happen? Now that we're 1-1 in the UFC, Pereira up 3-1, do we got to see it a third time? Maybe at 205 at this point? Do we need to see the trilogy before it's all said and done between these two guys?
Yes, definitely. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? This is like Pacquiao, not Pacquiao Marquez, but I wouldn't take it to 6. But this is something that needs to get settled, man. It's you give Pereira a little bit more time. To me, all around MMA, Izzy is the better fighter because he's been doing it for so much longer and he's just more well-rounded. You give Pereira a little bit of time to come around, work a little bit more on his skills, and I think they're a little bit more evenly matched, and he doesn't need to have that miraculous knockout or that miraculous, decision. They're a little bit more, they would be fair a little bit more, and I think that it needs to happen again.
Yeah, I think it's insane that they're talking about not doing a rematch and that nobody wants to see a rematch and that's not the route to go, and that, hey, Pereira, you should go up to 205 and do your thing up there. Like that was stuff, hearing that immediately after the fight, you can tell the work was in. They're trying to get Pereira away from Izzy again. They don't want this to happen. To me, it's ridiculous that the talk is the way that it is right now about there not needing to be a rematch. There absolutely needs to be a rematch. I mean, they're 1-1 right now, but it's 3-1. And I've been wanting to come on here for a while because to me, it's crazy how dismissive people are of the 3 victories that Pereira has over
Rogan
Pereira. Dude, if you
crazy on
the broadcast, he's like, oh, dude, the first fight, he was dominating that fight. Then he got knocked out. And then the second fight, he was dominating again and, split decision, whatever. And then the third fight in the UFC, he got knocked out. But then, this miraculous victory. And I've never seen and heard people dismiss 3 losses against one person so easily and not want to see if Izzy can do it again or if it was a fluke. Because, I mean, what if he caught lightning in a bottle? Because like Ben said, Pereira at that moment thought it was open season. He had no defense at all. He thought it was another, hey, I got him at the cages again. Let me put his lights out right here. But Izzy, kudos to him. He came in and played his cards right, knocked him out, caught him with his defense down. And, he's the champion right now. Can't take that away from him. But how's that not a fluke, in the series, it's down 3-1. He hasn't done it. How's that not a fluke? And how do people not want to see a rematch? It's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder,
seems like a layup for the UFC, right? To sell this pay-per-view fight again. It seems like this would be easy to do at this point now. You got 1 knockout apiece. How hard do you need to sell it? You could attach any to the co-main and it would sell. It's wild that they're not going for it.
Yeah, we got Tony in the comments saying they need to fight one more time and that's it. In the comment section, what do y'all think? Do y'all want to see Pereira against Adesanya part 3 to settle the rubber match in the UFC? Or is that, can we go without it? Me personally, Pereira moving to 205, he'll never come back down.
Nah, he doesn't have to cut anymore.
When guys move up in weight, they never go back down because their body just gets used to that walking around at that heavier weight and it makes the cut even worse. The only way that this fight will ever happen again is if Adesanya goes to 205. To do this fight. Would he go to 205 to do this fight? only if Pereira's the champion. Let's be honest. What business does he have at 205 against some of these other guys? I think only if Pereira wins the belt would he then try that again to be a champ. That's the only way we get the trilogy, boys. That's the only way, is at 205, and it's if Pereira's the champ.
All right. Anything left on the Izzy thing before we move on to the next?
Yeah, the rematch needs to happen right away too, because if one of these guys takes an L or gets an injury, then it's going to be a lot tougher to make that fight happen.
All right, let's move on to somewhat of a big announcement in the sports world, and that is Jake Paul versus Nathan Diaz, a DAZN pay-per-view, 8 rounds at 185 pounds. Ben, this is your boy, so I got to give you the honors. Nate Diaz is back.
Hey,
what do you
we're
think
talking
of this? You
about
gonna watch
everything
this?
tonight, baby.
Okay.
I told you this
Yeah.
was a full pod.
It's a
What did
variety
I say
show.
earlier?
It's a variety
He said
show.
it was a variety show, and we got a variety of topics. Nate Diaz, your boy, what do you think here?
Yeah.
Are you watching this fight?
Am I watching it? Yes, I'm watching it. I think that there's going to be the majority of the camp is going to be that they're not going to watch this fight. I mean, this has kind of been in the making for the last year or two.
Shout out
It's
James
what-
Langley.
It's what Diaz has been wanting. Yeah, shout out James Langley. Of course we're live, baby. We talk about sports. We got Jake Paul, Nate Diaz, 8 rounds. I don't like the 8-round rule. I wish that they would go 12 rounds. I know Jake Paul has only fought in 8-round fights, right? He hasn't fought any 12-rounders?
No, I think it's all been
No,
8 rounds.
8.
Okay, so I mean, this will be Nate's first time that we're seeing him professionally in boxing. I don't even know if it's professional, but I mean, it's a pay-per-view. It's an exhibition match, whatever you may call it. I think, I mean, you know what side I'm going with. I'm going with Nate Diaz. We saw Jake Paul kind of get exposed a little bit against a guy who knew what he was doing, standing up. And listen, I'm a fan of everything that Jake Paul's been doing to get these guys paid. You know, getting Tommy Fury a paycheck, getting Nate Diaz now a paycheck. He got Tyron Woodley paid. Now he can, you know, stop rapping. Thank God. But yeah, I'm a fan of this. I'm gonna watch it. I'm
Beat
gonna be
that
pulling
ass.
for Diaz. I do think that Diaz is gonna be the underdog though when the betting lines come out. I'm sure they're probably already out. I just don't have access to it right now.
Roland. So Jake goes, he fights Tommy Fury, the first real boxer he's fought. He loses that fight, and now he's back to fighting some older MMA guys. What do you think of that?
I pay no mind to it because we all knew that at some point, you know, he was going to hit a wall in terms of, you know, that going up the hill of the talent, you know, the mountaintop in terms of boxing. He was going to hit at some type of wall in terms of these people that he was going to fight. So I expect him to go back and start fighting some of these other guys. And these other guys just so happen to have big names. I mean, I'd rather watch him fight Nate Diaz than Tommy Fury, honestly. I could have done without the Fury fight. I mean, if he would have just skipped right to the Nate Diaz fight, I would have been all for that, honestly, too. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I agree with Ben. Jake Paul probably going to be the favorite here. I just hope that it's not, you know, Nate Diaz going out there and not throwing. I hope it at least turns into like some sort of a brawl or Nate Diaz uses length or something here because I don't want to see him get dominated because I like Nate Diaz too.
A lot of love for Jake Paul in the chat. I think
Ron,
we got-
so Nate Diaz said this. He said, I want to fight the best in boxing, and the two names
He wants
are
money.
Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez. Is he delusioned to keep Jake Paul's name in the same weight of Canelo Alvarez, or are they really the two biggest names in boxing?
Bro, he wants the bag. Like he's starting a
Yeah,
new
he's fighting
promotion,
about the
so he
bag.
needs money for his company. This is exactly what that is.
Okay.
Okay. Tony and Aldo in the chat, shout you guys, shout out you guys who say that Jake Paul's gonna destroy Diaz. I don't think that he will because in all of his fights, he really hasn't gone out there and tried to embarrass anybody except for the Woodley, crazy knockout. I think he has a lot of respect for Diaz. I think it's gonna be just another promo fight, another Conor versus Floyd. It's tappy, a little bit of a hyped up sparring session. I don't think that Nate goes out there and tries to get the dub. I think he, pulls his
You're
Stockton
crazy,
slap.
bro.
He
You're
tries
crazy.
to. I just don't see it, bro. Like I see a stalemate. Fireworks here and there, but nothing but a promo fight. For Diaz, he's gonna get a bag, and if he gets the dub, badass, bro. Like honestly, but it's
Yeah.
He froze. Any chance they see these guys in the
as far as
cage?
boxing. He's older.
No, I don't think that there's any chance that we see them in the cage. I mean, obviously it'd have to be for PFL where Jake Paul's at. Nate Diaz is a free agent. But I don't know, man. I mean, if Nate Diaz goes out and wins this fight, boy, he's gonna be calling out Canelo Alvarez after that. Believe that. Believe that. Don't let Nate win this fight, baby.
I would love to see Nate Diaz get a bag fighting Canelo. That would be just amazing to see. I have no hope that he wins, but it would be fun to watch.
Bro, he would get started.
I mean, just on pure boxing alone, you
Absolutely.
have to give it to Paul.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. It's in August. We got all summer.
It's on DAZN. I thought Jake Paul
On
was
the Zone,
Showtime.
yeah.
He's not on Showtime.
He's everywhere, bro. He's getting the bag everywhere.
You know what? He was on Showtime. I wonder what's up with that. If it's
For
a
the
new
Fury
deal
fight.
or
Yeah, he's on Showtime.
Canelo by decision. Yeah, Josh. Canelo.
All right,
will leave him as a
Roland.
vegetable.
We're getting into the spot where Roland's going to be the leader here, and you know what it is.
It's
Ah,
NBA
NBA
time, baby.
playoffs.
Justin, you've been doing a good job driving the ship. I mean,
No.
I'd like it if
I
you take us
I
through
defer
here.
to you in NBA. And
We already
let's do
hit the
the Eastern.
iceberg.
Do the Eastern, Roland.
Yeah, well, we got the NBA playoffs going on right now. We all know the play-in has been going on. Last night we had the Bulls taking care of business against the Raptors, and then the Thunder, surprising most of us, going on the road, showing the moment wasn't too big, and they took care of business against the Pelicans last night.
Awesome
And
game.
they move on to play the Wolves for that final playoff spot in the West. So right here we have pictured the main players here for most of these guys. Let's get into it. Let's get straight into it. The East.
All right, Eastern. Here we go.
All right, the first
What do you
matchup that's set, we got the Atlanta Hawks because they surprised everybody. They were a part of that first play-in game against the Heat. They took care of business in Miami. Boston on the other side, the 2 seed, big favorites, minus 1,000 to win the series versus Atlanta, plus 650. Ben, I see a big grin on your face. You're a big fan of the Celtics team historically. You've been known to like them. You're also a fan of the Heat, who are still going to play in the play-in, but the Celtics are one of your teams. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the odds kind of tell us how this series is going to go. And first of all, shout out to the playing games, bro. I think that's been one of the better
They went
things
hard,
that the NBA has implemented. For the most part, they were all really close. But yeah, that's why I'm not down to say no to that tournament. You know,
in-season
mid-season
tournament
that they're talking about. A lot of people
Yeah.
were saying that that's going to be stupid. This, and that. I mean, the playing games and the idea has been nothing but fire, bro, in my opinion. But here to get to this, the 1 and 8 seed, I think there's a lot of Hawks, there's a lot of Celtics, sweeps out there, predictions. I do think the Hawks can get one game at home. So give me 4-1 Celtics. But yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of one-way traffic, bro. The Hawks, Trae Young, I think he's 5-1 in playing games, the king of the playing games. This is the official playoffs. 1 seed versus 8. Give me the Hawks
2-7.
in one game. Oh, 2 and 7?
Yeah,
Okay.
2-7.
Yeah, because 1 and 8 we didn't set because it's not
That's
official
true.
yet.
And it's the Bucks. Yeah, you're right. My
Yeah.
bad.
Oh,
But
Mark
You're
Choppa
good.
in the chat. What up, Mark?
yeah, give me
No,
Atlanta
Mark.
winning one game in this series.
Justin, the Celtics are your rivals. You're a Lakers fan, die hard, but I'm sure you pay attention to the Celtics team. They're an NBA contender as of late. Do you think they're going to roll right through Atlanta? Were you surprised that Atlanta took care of business in Miami last night?
Yeah, I was surprised
Or
at
the
that
night before?
score. If you paid attention to the ESPN reporters on that day, all 17 of them said the Heat were going to win. I was getting a lot of Heat buzz from my friends, but man, I was real surprised how much Atlanta was up in that game. Let's be real. If they get one game, maybe. But like Bridge, he comes in the chat on the Xbox chat. He says, "Don't pray for me, pray for the Hawks." He always comes in and says stuff like that. So give me the Celtics here in 5. Shout out Bridgewater.
What about you, Ron? How are you looking at this series?
Oh, man. Celtics are going to go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they are going to lose to the Sixers. That is my prediction for the
Yo!
East. MVP gets it done. My sleeper pick, though, real quick, the Bulls, man. Don't sleep on the Bulls.
Still got one more game to get it done against the Heat. See if they get it done tomorrow night. All right, so it looks like it's all consensus here. No one's picking the big upset against the Celtics. We all think they're going to get it done. Minus 1,000. We're not worried about the coaching mishaps here or anything that's going on with the team. But let's go.
I will say it goes at least 6 because Atlanta's going to put up a bigger fight than people
I got
think.
them winning game 4. They'll win game 4.
It'll go 6.
All right, next one.
All right, next one. We got who Ron's been talking about right now as his favorite to come out of the East. The Sixers as big favorites here against the new look Nets here with Spencer Dinwiddie. Don't want to call him his nickname or what Kuz would be calling him right now. And Mikal Bridges. Let's just talk about it. Mikal Bridges, one of the glow-ups of the season. He was part of that big trade from that included Kevin Durant going to Phoenix. He was at one of the big pieces that weren't picks or anything like that. And he's just shown to be a true player in this league. Ben, what do you think about this series? What do you think about Mikal Bridges, coming into his own this season? Any comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, Mikal Bridges, I think, has been unlocked. I think it's kind of like when, Harden left OKC and went to Houston and he became the man. I think that might be what we're getting with Mikal Bridges, with the Nets. There was rumors of teams offering 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges after the Kevin Durant trade. So he's gone. He's put up 40 points. He definitely seems like he's been unlocked. Although, this is a team that's 11-10 after the All-Star break. This is a position that KD put him in. I don't think that they would have made the playoffs had they not, had that head start with the KD on the team at the beginning of the season. So I honestly think that we're going to see a sweep in this series. I'm with Ron. I'm obviously big James Harden fan, but Embiid, man, the MVP, and then Tyrese Maxey as well. I really like the 76ers. I still have a lot of questions about Doc Rivers. Obviously, I'm not his biggest fan. But, this might be the year that Philly gets over the hump and, the process finally gets there. I got Philly sweeping this series.
I don't know about a sweep, but, well, yeah, I can see that. I think there's more of a sweep here than in the Celtics series. Definitely.
I think the Nets might steal one game just because of what Ben brought up. You just can't trust Doc Rivers. I think there's going to be a game where either Philly's going to come out flat or Philly's going to let go of a big lead because that's just, the Doc Rivers calling card right there. You're not finishing out a game. So I think they'll blow at least one game, but I don't see much threat to Philadelphia either because I also have high hopes for this team.
Yeah, I think this is comment section too saying Bridges plays all 83 games. Justin, are you as high on Bridges as we are before you get your prediction out?
No, not really. I'm not high on either guy, Spencer or Mikal Bridges. I'm going to go with what my boy Kuzma said, and he said the only reason these guys are even in the playoffs was because of what KD had done prior, KD and Kyrie. And, man, I think it's a sweep. I don't see them even losing the game. I think they can get past Doc Rivers' coaching, and I think they can get this win in a sweep. I like what I've seen from the MVP, which I think is Embiid throughout the season. I think he gets them the sweep here.
Yeah, it's going to be the push broom, baby.
Ron, are you on this one as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I said this has more of a chance for a sweep than the Celtics for the Sixers.
So this was the 3-6.
Almost.
You're not listening.
3 out of 4 said sweep here. Then
you're not listening to me, bro.
Yeah, this was a 3-6. Let's go on to the next one.
Series,
yeah, let's go on to I like this one. We got some graphics on this one here. This one is a little bit interesting because we see the new look Cleveland Cavaliers here with Donovan Mitchell, their big offseason acquisition, against the Knicks, who had another big offseason acquisition with Jalen Brunson, also pictured there. But the big key here is Julius Randle dealing with an injury. They said that they're only going to play him in game 1 if he's absolutely healthy. And I think that's factored into this series line here with Cleveland. It's -200 favorite. I'm going to throw it to Justin. Justin, are you buying this -200 price with the Cleveland Cavaliers, or do you think it's a little overpriced here considering, hey, this is a younger team? Are you sure they're such a lock to win the series?
I am buying that they should be the favorite, but not at the rate that they're at. I think that is becoming a little juice probably off the Randall news. But, yeah, give me Spider, give me Cleveland. And I think this one's going to go all the way to 7. I think this is going to be a dogfight.
Good series. What about you, Ben?
I like the matchup. I like the guard play here. Obviously, Cleveland has the trees down low with Allen and Mobley. But, outside they have Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And that's why Jalen Brunson, I believe, is going to be able to get whatever he wants on either one of those guys. I mean, you come set a pick, you get either Mitchell or Garland on you. It's barbecue chicken. He went for 50 on him, maybe 2-3 weeks ago when they played a really good game. I got Cleveland in 6, though. If Julius Randle doesn't play, I don't see them having enough throughout a 7-game series I think that, Brunson's going to be playing a bunch of minutes this series because that's the only chance that they have is Brunson.
Yeah.
So give me the Cavs in 6 here.
All right. What about you, Ron?
Give me the Cavs, bro. The Knicks are the Knicks. They always find a way to lose. And I think that the Stars here, my matchup is just on the Stars itself, the guys on the screen. I mean, give me Spider Mitchell all day over Jalen Brunson, who came from the Mavericks and he got paid huge. And I don't think he's that big of a star, man. I don't think he deserved that money. I don't think he's as good as people think that. Dude, I just
don't. Watch the games, cuz?
Yeah,
hey,
bro,
that's his opinion. That's his opinion.
Like that. There's a reason the Mavs are not in the playoffs, and it's because
I think it's because Ron is thinking star versus superstar. In which Jalen Brunson is a star. He's not a superstar.
That's the context he's thinking. Yeah.
Who do you want? You want Mitchell or do you want Brunson?
I think it's the same thing.
No,
I really do.
I think Mitchell, he's more athletic, but for me here, this series does come down to Julius Randle being injured. And me personally, I'm not the biggest Julius Randle fan. I think he's more of a regular season player. I think he puts up a little bit more empty stats. He takes a lot of bad shots, in my opinion. This isn't like me getting on my why I don't like Julius Randle pedestal here, but I'm just not a fan of him in the playoffs when the game slows down. It's in the half court. I like Cleveland. I think they have more ways to produce a basket. I don't trust RJ Barrett in the playoffs either. I think he has some bad habits that come out when you really force him to be in the half court. So give me Cleveland, but I also think that this one will go 6, maybe 7, depending on if Julius Randle can play and produce. But yeah, give me the Cavs here.
Mark, why are you saying that that Mitchell's overrated? That's crazy. He's not overrated at all. Everybody's saying 6 games, 7 games is going to be a tough series. And what do you need to win those series? Ben says it all the time. He got that dog in him. And Cleveland has that dog in him, and the Knicks just don't, bro. So give me Cleveland to win the series.
Bro. No,
man, they got puppies over there, bro.
I just like Jalen Brunson's game a lot, bro. I think that he's very calm when he plays. He's just always under control. Not the most athletic guy. Smooth lefty. I prefer Brunson over Mitchell. That's me.
Pal bet series.
Well, I mean, I have the Cavs winning in 6, bro. I haven't been a good series. I'm just talking about this matchup that we have on the screen. These two demons with the fire coming out their eyes. Give me Brunson.
They knew the perk was fake, but they still took it.
All right, let's get over
consensus so far. No one's disagreed on the series.
I think we'll have some disagreement coming up, though.
That was the closest one that we've covered, though, because of the first 2 were pretty big favorites on each side. So, all right, let's get on to the West, and let's just say it before we get into the matchups. I think this is the most wide open the West has been in a long time. I think it's the most wide open the NBA has been in a long time in terms of parity and not really knowing who's going to come out of each conference. The number 1 seed, we're not going to talk about them because their matchup's not set, but we got the Nuggets. Is everybody confident that the Nuggets are going to come out as the number 1 seed out of the West? You got people here saying that the Grizzlies got to be on watch for the Lakers. We'll talk about it later. The Lakers is the 7 seed. So I just wanted to comment on that. Do you guys agree that this is the most wide open that you guys can remember the NBA playoffs being?
I think based off the seeding, I think it's clear who the favorite is in the West. I think that, aside from the Laker fan base who can't be realistic most of the time, I think most people would agree that the Suns are the favorite to come out of the West. I think that would be the consensus.
With the big asterisk.
Yeah, because of where they are and how late they got KD.
KD's health, though, I think is huge.
I do agree that it is open. There's no clear favorite. There's no Golden State Warriors, this year. So, at their peak, right? They're obviously playing as a 6 seed. So it is open, but I think the Suns are the rightful favorite. And I think most would tend to agree that they're a favorite over everybody.
All right, well, let's get into the matchups here. Let's get into it. We got the Lakers. We mentioned them as a 7 seed. People saying that the whole West has to be out on lookout, on watch here. The Lakers plus 120 going up against the Memphis Grizzlies minus 140. Everybody had huge expectations for the Grizzlies throughout the season. It just seemed like the Grizzlies were trying to get through to the playoffs. We all know about Ja Morant's off the court struggles, well documented what he's been up to off the court. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that. I'll leave that to you guys if you want to talk about that. But they are minus 140 series favorites. Do you guys think Memphis is going to take care of business, or do we see a 7-2 upset brewing over here in the West, much closer than the East? I'll throw it to Ron because you got the Lakers background behind you. I know that's a Senders background, but you got the Lakers colors behind you. Throw it
Yes,
to you
bro.
first here. What are your thoughts on the series?
You already know, dog. Lakers late. Put the house on it, bro.
Lakers
LA
sweep.
plus 120, cuz. I mean, look, man, it's obviously a biased pick. I think, LeBron's going to get it done. And everybody's going to say the other day they had trouble. The Timberwolves, Cat was going off. They barely got him back. Anthony Edwards was hurt, blah, blah, blah. Look, man, the point is that they won, okay? They won. They got in the playoff, and they find ways to win. Crazy that I'm going to say that their defense actually helped them out. It was a very low scoring game. They played a great defense. And in the end, AD stepped up. LeBron stepped up. They got the help from Schroeder because nobody else was doing anything, bro. And that was the thing, is that everybody was kind of chipping in for the Wolves. But, it was very heavy on LeBron and AD. But look, regardless of it, it was ugly. They found a way to win. They're going to find a way to win. It's very hard to beat LeBron in a 7-game series. 3-game series, one game series, very tough. They might take the L. In the 7-game series against guys that haven't been there before as much, I mean, Lakers get it done, bro, at plus money. Let's go.
All right. Well, it's only fair that we go to the other Lakers fan, right, Roland?
Yeah, let's go, Justin.
Yeah, I didn't like what I saw against the Timberwolves to get into this game, but I'm not going to choose against my guys. I think we're going to get to the free throw line a lot. I think that's going to be a topic of discussion over this playoff series, and I'm going to pick the Lakers, but I'm going to do it in 7. I think it's going to be very hard for us to get rid of Ja, but I think we do it. I think the NBA wants to see the Lakers in the next round.
Of course they do. Who doesn't want to see the Lakers in the next round?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the refs do, because that second half was pathetic refereeing against the Wolves, bro.
Hey, but they've led the league. I think they're towards the top of the league in terms of free throw attempts. So that's the Lakers' norm. So maybe the refs just they like them all season. So,
Lakers too
which
big.
I wouldn't argue against that. But hey, if you guys have a chance, for those of you guys who are watching, we appreciate all of it. We really do. If you guys could please like and share. That'd be much appreciated. Would really, really appreciate that right now. But before we get to that's the first half of the takes, because those are the 2 Lakers fans. Now we're going to get to the 2 other fans here on the podcast. I'll give my take, and this is just I'm holding my breath. Really, I am going to take the Lakers. I think we're going to get it done. I think they'll get it done in 7. But for me, it just comes down to Memphis Grizzlies. They are injured a little bit. They're really going to have to rely on Jaren Jackson Jr. to be on the court and not get in foul trouble. He's probably going to be up against Anthony Davis, and I pray that Anthony Davis comes out and plays hard and plays like the guy that he can really be when he reaches his full potential. Because you know what LeBron's going to give you. He just needs AD to be the guy that the Lakers got him to be. And I think that this matchup sets up perfectly. If you guys remember a couple of years ago, they had a similar matchup against the Suns. It looked like they were going to get the job done, but then AD got hurt. Similar situation here against the Grizzlies. If AD can stay healthy, I think the Lakers can get it done. Give me the Lakers in 7. I just don't trust the Grizzlies. They don't have Steven Adams, and they're missing another big. So, like I said, it's really going to be all on JJJ to stop what the Lakers got going on.
Yeah. Shit.
Make it a consensus. Say
it. Ben, they said that you're taking your boy Bron. Is this true?
No, Raw knows me from the Navy. Back when LeBron was in the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavs. You know what I mean? Not when he was with the enemy, the sworn enemy of the Lakers. Hey, shout out to Alan Turisa, bro. Pops out of nowhere. As soon as Laker talk happens, here comes Alan, the Laker fan.
You got the notification, fan.
Yeah. Hey, minus 140 for a 2 seed against a 7 seed. I mean, are we gonna? This is value. This is value here, boys. We're not gonna make it a consensus. We're not gonna make it a consensus, and this just isn't my hate against the Lakers. I didn't like what I saw against the Wolves, bro.
Doesn't matter.
Their big acquisition at the All-Star break was D'Angelo Russell, and he was unplayable in a play-in game. They had LeBron.
He was bad that game.
They had LeBron playing 50 minutes in the play-in game. This is not LeBron with Delhi in the finals. This is the play-in game. 50 minutes. I mean, bro, he'll be gassed by game 3. I think Memphis is going to win in 7 games. I'm going to give the Lakers the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to have it go 7. Game 7 is going to be in Memphis. Shannon Sharp front row. John Morant, boy, is going to go crazy. He's going to go crazy on him. I don't like that Steven Adams is out for this series. Roland pointed out that Jaren Jackson Jr. stays in foul trouble. Great defender when he's on the court, but he jumps for everything. And he's going to have to be rim defending against LeBron and AD.
And Reeves.
Shut up.
Bro, the Lakers got too much depth, bro.
Hey,
too much
Xavier
depth.
Tillman is the backup big for Memphis.
Vanderbilt
I really don't like
defensive
that.
X factor.
Hey, maybe we'll see the bully. Maybe we'll see Debo on the block, Kenny Lofton Jr. to muscle AD around.
Yo, that's what Alan was saying. Kenny Lofton making an impact?
G League MVP. Hey, I'm just saying they might have to bust out all the stops. I also have beef with Justin. I think he made this slide. I appreciate the hard work, buddy, but we needed Dylan Brooks up here. That would have driven this conversation even more. Josh said, "Who's Dylan Brooks gonna fight?" Josh is gonna fight everybody, baby. Dylan Brooks. Hey, this series is gonna be nuts, bro. This series is gonna be insane. Obviously, the Lakers bring their height, but there is a rivalry here. Whether it be Ja against the Lakers and LeBron telling them to keep it chill when they run them out of the gym every damn time they play, or whether it's Shannon Sharp and John Morant, there's beef here. This is, must-see TV. I agree, but I'm going to go with Memphis in 7.
Shannon's got to be courtside.
One of the games he has to be.
I just hope he goes courtside in Memphis.
He's got to be, just to bring the intensity up, and maybe, I'm not saying he's going to rattle anybody. These are professionals. They're not scared of Shannon Sharp, but he just needs to be on the court. The Bulls, they had their secret weapon with DeMar DeRozan's daughter.
The craziest screams
at the free throws, made the Raptors go 50% from the free throw line. So the Lakers got to bring out their secret weapon.
The Lakers have too much depth, man. I think in a 7-game series, you have those guys who step up.
Are you counting Shannon Sharp in that depth?
No.
Like what depth? Though?
He's their muscle. He's their muscle.
D'Angelo Russell can't even get on the court, bro. There ain't depth.
It's playoff time.
Out of everybody.
Schroeder's there.
And look, Allen says Vando is the defensive X factor, but on offense, he is so. It's 4-on-5 on offense.
Draymond Green. I mean, is he a great offensive player? But when he's on the court, he makes a difference. I'm not comparing Vandy to Draymond Green. Clearly,
Draymond's at least a great passer. I'll give him that.
And that is one of their better lineups.
Oh, Draymond Green complimented by Ben.
Vanderbilt on the court, but
he can pass.
Are you guys, as Lakers fans, Justin? I'll ask you. Are you worried about D'Angelo Russell's performance against the Wolves, or are you maybe thinking that he was maybe like a little rattled playing his old team? That he just got
it seemed like he forgot what team he was on for a second there. I'm not too worried for him to have an off game. Good that it happened then and we still got the win. I don't expect him to have an off series. He's going to hit those threes that we need, and I think we're going to get enough from him. I don't think it's going to be you got to count him out over one game. I don't think that's the case.
All right, no worries on D'Angelo Russell from you. What about you, Ron?
No, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that I keep saying about depth. He wasn't even on the court for a lot of the game, and Schroeder came up, and Schroeder was that three that LeBron gave him. Yes, he was wide open. I mean, with 3 seconds left, but you have to make the shot in big games, and he Robert Ori'd it and made the big shot in the big game. AD fucks up and steps on the toe.
AD's got a heads up next time.
Yeah,
that was
I'm saying
baffling what he did.
It's just little things like that, man, that the Lakers haven't had in years past, minus the bubble, to where it's like, okay, who's going to step up? Kendavius Caldwell-Pope before, it was hit or miss. Kyle Kuzma, very hit or miss. So I think that the roster itself, these guys are a little bit more reliable than the guys that they've had before.
And no one here has even mentioned
two things
the Kardashian curse, Tristan Thompson being with us either.
those playoff reinforcements, baby.
Picked them up.
Hey, two things from me before we leave this. First, we got Eddie, who we know is a big Lakers fan. Memphis in 5-6 at most. So Justin,
he's realistic, man. That's the thing about him. He's not ever.
That's why I was gonna say. You said you weren't gonna go against your Lakers, but I think you only threw out that because deep inside you think Memphis is gonna win this series. Cause
no, they're not.
And the second thing, LeBron's pass, something that he was criticized for early in his years, not having that killer mentality, always making the right basketball play. Here he is in year 18, year 20, whatever it is. Nothing's changed. The right basketball play, wide open Dennis Schroeder. Trust your guys, bro. I mean, it's a wide open look. They're pros.
So you still love LeBron, huh? You still like
I got to give LeBron a little bit of kudos because he hasn't changed his game in that sense. He's always trying to make the basketball play.
Can't change your game if it's the greatest of all time. Because
all right.
Let's move on because we do got other games to talk about.
3-1 here.
This is a series that I really look forward to. I think it's going to be, some drama here.
Yeah, and
that's what is it, Roland? What is it?
Yeah, so we got Golden State Warriors as the 6th seed Going up north to play
Disrespect.
Sacramento. I think they're going up north. If I got this
No, I
mistaken,
think it's
somebody-
south. I think
Oh, they're going
San Francisco's the
south
north of
about an
Sacramento.
hour. Yeah, they're going about an hour south to Sacramento, where the 3 seed. Sacramento hasn't been in the playoffs for God knows how long. They had some success in the 90s and 2000s when they battled the Lakers. We all know about those playoff battles that they had back in the day. They find themselves as plus 200 underdogs as a 3 seed after their magical season. That's the first time that a 3 seed has been an underdog against a 6 seed in the opening round since like the 1960s is the stat that I read. So this is unprecedented, but we all know why. We see who's standing on the left side. It's none other than Stephen Curry. He's still doing it. The Warriors, probably one of the worst road teams of all time. I think they only won 11 road games this year. I don't know if that's going to rear its ugly head in the playoffs or if they're going to flip the switch because you know they have the championship pedigree. They're truly a team that is just trying to get to the playoffs, and they really don't care about the regular season. You can say that about these veterans at this point. They're really just playing for the ship. Do you think that that's enough for them to get it done, or do you think that they had too many struggles to overcome the Sacramento Kings here? I'm going to throw it to you, Ben, because you're always very opinionated about this Warriors team. What are your thoughts first about their regular season? Are you worried about it? And do you think the Kings have a fighter's chance here?
As far as their regular season, am I worried about it? I am worried about the away record. It's something that I've talked to my brother Leo, obviously notorious Warriors fan who refuses to answer tough questions. But they haven't been good on the road. But it is the playoffs and this Kings defense, man. That's the only thing about the Kings. Do I think that it's going to be more competitive than minus 275? I do think it's going to be more competitive than minus 275 because I think that those road woes for the Warriors are real, but they also get Andrew Wiggins back. Now, I do believe that it's going to take Andrew Wiggins a little bit to get back in form. I don't expect him to come out game one, with 28-3. I expect, to slowly get him back in. But this is a series that you'd want to get him, back in the swing of things, right? He's going to be out there maybe as one of their better defenders, having to guard De'Aaron Fox or Harrison Barnes. The Kings have weapons. It's just the defense. I love the Sabonis against Draymond Green matchup that's going to happen this series. I think that that's going to be dope also. So, yeah, bro, I'm really excited for this series. I disagree with the odds, but I do think the Warriors end up winning the series. But I think the odds are very wide.
So do you give what do you take Kings plus a game and a half?
Plus a game and a half. That means if it goes 6, what happens?
If it goes 6, you lose.
I would not take it. I think it's 6 or 7. I'm 50-50 on 6 or 7.
All right. What about you, Justin?
7 you could.
Well, they're getting Wiggins back, and I think that's going to help, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to him playing again. He was out, 20-some games?
Yeah.
And you got, like that, Ben said, the way for the Warriors, 11-30 on the road. I think that's going to be the factor here. Give me the Kings, the young Kings, to run them out the building. De'Aaron Fox to just run Steph Curry down. I know throughout the season, I think the Warriors did get the best of the Kings. But give me the Kings here, plus 200.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Ron? Are you calling the upset shot here? Are you going against the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely calling it here too. Sacramento plus 200. Look, man, the Warriors are great, but they're just not the teams that they were before. They're a little bit older. They played together for a long time, which everybody says is good, but they are older. They're going against the guys who are going to run up and down the court. And Sacramento all year, they haven't been on the radar. Nobody's been talking about them, and they're just doing big things. Second seed in the West. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, I mean, I'm not saying MVP level, but I mean, the dude is the greatest fourth quarter performer this year. So why not, man? Give me Sacramento plus 200. The series kicks off Saturday. And they have, let's not forget, they have home court advantage too, which is something that the Warriors are used to having. They're always the top seeds. They always go, you have to go to their house to play them. And as everybody knows, they have trouble on the road, and they're going to have to win more games on the road. So why not, man? I mean, at these odds at plus 200, I mean, take the Kings. If you've been following them, they've been winning you money all year, so why not continue?
Yeah, I'm not ready to jump off the Warriors ledge yet and say that they're going to go out and lose this series. I'll make my take quick. I do think the Warriors are going to take care of business. I think they're going to win this in about 6 games. I don't think it's going to go 7 because I think they're going to split in Sacramento. I think they're going to take care of business in Golden State. And it's just one of those things where I don't know if they're necessarily going to turn it on, but I also think that Sacramento too, this is their first time being in the playoffs in 14 years. That's why I really like them game 1. And I'm glad Diego put that comment here because I do think that the Kings are very live game 1 in Sacramento. I think that's probably going to be the loudest crowd of the year. So I really think the Kings have their chance to take their to have the first punch. I think they're going to take it. So yeah, bet the Warriors after game 1, but I think the Warriors will take care of business here. I don't think they're going to win the championship or even maybe come out of the West, but I do think they'll have enough to get through the Kings here. I just don't think that they are ready so much for this moment, or at least a whole series. I mean, you're going up against the Warriors. These guys going to be playing mind games with you all series, with Draymond going to try and get you out of your game. They play good defense in the playoffs and the regular season. Yeah, the Kings are super stacked on offense, but we all know the playoffs is a different game. It's a different brand of basketball. So I'm really interested to see the Kings can get it done.
That game 1 point by Diego is really good too. I mean, he is a Warriors fan, right? So he doesn't want to see the Warriors lose. But like Roland says, this is a 17-year drought of not being in the playoffs that ends Saturday night in Sacramento. So that arena, no, there's not going to be a single seat open. Ain't going to be no standing room. It's going to be lit. I do think Sacramento wins game 1. But bro, minus 275. Take them after game 1, like Diego says. The odds are probably going to be closer to like maybe Warriors minus 140. They'll still be favorites down 0-1, but you'll get it way closer to even money.
You guys are talking about game 1. I'm going to bring this up because I think this is correct here. I don't know if we can make that bigger, Justin, but game 1, it's a straight pick 'em, bro. It's a straight pick 'em here for Golden State. PK at minus 110, over under 238.5. And I think with the total that high, you have to give it to the Kings because of the way they like to get up and down the court. So if you like him to win game 1, right now it's at minus 110. I would take it now.
Yeah, I would be very worried if I were a Warriors fan and the Warriors came out lackadaisical. Like they didn't turn on the switch, and like those road woes are gonna, carry on throughout the playoffs because
it's a big sample size, Roland.
I know I'm saying I'm making my bet under the assumption that I think the Warriors are gonna split on the road in Sacramento. I don't think they're gonna go back to Golden State down 2-0 because if they go down 2-0, to me that means that they didn't turn on that switch. And to your point, that big sample size is going to, follow through into the playoffs, meaning their road woes. So I'd be very worried if they're not able to turn on that switch on the road. It's very important to me how they look game 1.
All
right. This next series. So we talked about 2 series that we think are going to be pretty highly contested. If you pay attention to the odds here, this one maybe not so much, but maybe our opinions will be a little bit different here. Phoenix minus 500. Ben was saying they're the rightful favorites with that pairing right there of Booker and KD. Can't argue there. Going up against the Clippers, who Kawhi Leonard doesn't have his other mate there in Paul George pictured, but he has Russell Westbrook. They're plus 370 underdogs. I'm going to ask you guys first before you do you guys think these odds are right? Do you think it's mispriced? And are the Clippers live here? Justin, what do you think about the Clippers? They're the team that shares the crypto.com arena with you guys, with the Lakers. What do you think about your hometown rivals?
I think the series is a little bit mispriced. I think the Clippers should be a little closer, not favored, but a little bit closer in odds. They had a better away record than the Suns did this season. I do think you have those concerns with KD and his health, and I think it should be a little closer. But give me the Suns here. I think the Suns will win. I think with what CP3 brings and Booker, they have enough depth to get them to win. And I think they have more talent on that side of the squad.
Yeah, and before I think this is rightfully priced because I didn't even mention Paul George probably not going to play this series. He's probably he's going to be reevaluated in a few weeks. That was kind of the article I was reading right now. He got the update yesterday, so he's going to be out of the series. Maybe if it goes 7, he might play, or 6, but he's not going to be there for the first couple games. Ben, do you think the Suns are going to make quick work of the Clippers here?
In the comment section, it seems people seem to think that the Clippers do have a fighting shot here. People backing Kawhi. Me personally, I do think minus 500 is pretty steep. I do. I think the Clippers, they play hard, and I think that the Suns are not as physical. So I think if the Clippers just get very physical and the refs start letting them play, they could really bother the Suns. We've got, some comments here saying Booker and CP3 choke artists. I mean, now they have Mr. Playoffs, though, in KD. We've seen every playoff series he's been a part of. I mean, bucket getter, clutch. That one year, his foot was on the line against the Bucks. So, I mean, KD is him.
Also wearing a bigger size shoe.
Yeah, KD is him when he gets to the playoffs. So I don't agree with minus 500, but I do like the Phoenix Suns to win this series. I mean, DeAndre Ayton against Zubac, I think that's going to be the big mismatch here. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to be eating this series, averaging about 20 and 10 for Ayton.
Wow. What about you, Ron? What are your thoughts on the series?
He's on mute. I think his connection is a little struggling here.
Roland, what do you got here?
Well, I think if KD's healthy, I think the Suns are going to win this in 5. Again, like I mentioned, in terms of how the game changes in the playoffs, Russell Westbrook, he had a couple of big games, but he's going to really be relied upon to be a complementary scorer to Kawhi. And I don't think he's going to be able to get it done for the Clippers in the playoffs enough times. He might get it done for a game to help out Kawhi, but I don't think Kawhi is going to be able to beat this 3-headed monster. And 4-headed if you count CP3, but you got Aiden, Booker, and KD. And KD doesn't need a lot of games to get warmed up. He's just automatic. He steps in. KD just picks up his bag and his basketball and just shows up wherever. And he can ball. He's just that type of a guy. You don't need to worry about that. So I think they'll make quick work of the Clippers here. All right, give me the Suns 4-1.
Do you all think that we see Kawhi matching up against KD for the majority of the series, or do you think that it's just going to be late in games and they'll throw different guys at KD? I believe that the Suns are probably going to stick a Kogi on Kawhi to start. I don't think that they're going to make KD guard him, from beginning to end. But I do expect KD to be on Kawhi late in the fourth quarter. I think the Clippers need to, contain KD at all costs. So it'd probably be in their best interest to put Kawhi on him. But he's a guy who I don't see lasting if that's the case. How do you all see it playing out defensively against KD?
I think they have a variety of guys to throw at KD. I think we'll see some Kawhi on KD, but you also, who's going to guard Booker? Kawhi is going to have to spend some time on Booker if Booker's a hot hand, and if he's the guy that's controlling the game. Powell, they got Bones Highland. I think that's his last name, right? Bones, the guy that they got from the Nuggets. So, he's another lanky guy that can probably match up with KD. So they got some guys to throw at him, but I do agree with you.
What about Terrence Mann on KD? You think you'll see some of that action?
I think he's maybe a guy that you'll throw at Booker. I don't know if he's big enough to match up with KD. What do you know his height? Because I know he plays point for.
I think he's 6'8". He's small forward.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see some of that, but I don't think it's just going to be an exclusive Kawhi on KD. I think they're going to throw a couple different looks at him. All right, so no arguments here. We all got Phoenix. It's all about
I think
what
Ron
happens
was going to
next.
go the other way. So, thankfully he's having technical difficulties and we can consensus this.
All right, so 3-0 with an asterisk, and if Ron hops back on, we'll get his pick, and we'll circle back here to the Suns. Ron said on Clippers he's sprinkling. So that was the playoffs there. Like Justin said in the beginning of the take, or the beginning of the podcast, when we got into the playoffs here, we don't have the 1 versus 8 settled yet. So we're not going to be able to discuss that. But I don't think either of us or any of us here on this podcast are expecting the Bucks to lose to the Bulls or the Heat, or expecting the Nuggets to lose to the Thunder, or who are the Thunder playing? I'm blanking out.
Wolves.
The Wolves. We don't see any of those as a threat. It's all about what happens afterwards for those 1 seeds. So before we leave the NBA, let's all give our picks. It's the beginning of the playoffs. Nothing's tipped off. So, whatever pick we give here, I mean, you get full credit because you can't say that any games have taken place and you're cheating. So, who do you guys have in the finals?
I'm gonna go Suns Sixers.
What about you, Jess?
Give me the Celtics, which I hate saying, and the Suns.
What?
I think we get a rematch. I want the Sixers to win. I do have a ticket on the Sixers to win the East from the beginning of the year, but I'm going to go against that because I still think when it's all said and done, when everybody's healthy, Giannis is still that guy. I'm not going against Giannis and the Bucks. Give me the Bucks and give me the Suns. We're going to get a rematch. Bucks versus Suns, but my boy CP3 is going to get it done. So this is the year. This is the year, baby.
He needs to get it done one time, man.
Lakers and who, Ron? Lakers and who? Hey, Lakers and who?
Lakers and the Sixers, cuz James Harden, your boy, finally has a decent enough year to get the Sixers passed through. Embiid is playing out of his freaking mind. The dude deserves to go to the East, and they've been very close. So I think they finally get it done this year. So Lakers versus Sixers. And the
Harden's
Lakers
winning a chip if that's the case.
The Lakers win it all. I'm gonna put the odds real quick. Let me see if I can just pull them real super fast.
Yeah, in the comments section, we got Josh that says Lakers Bucks. Who do we got in the comments as far as the finals?
Yeah, I want to hear your final prediction and your winner. Let's see what the chat says.
Yeah, Josh earlier in this season was.
These are the odds right here. These are the odds to win the championship this year. So let's go to the Lakers real quick. The Lakers plus 1100. Who else do you guys want to check?
What's the Sixers odds? What are the Suns odds?
Sixers plus 875. The Suns plus 425. The lowest odds are the Bucks at plus 275. So they have the best odds to win at plus 275.
Yeah.
Then the Celtics at plus 300.
That's right.
So that's two Eastern Conference teams in the top two. Then you have them following the Suns. The Suns are the favorite to come out of the West at plus 425. The longest shot are the T-Wolves at plus 2,500 and the Thunder at plus 2,500, along with the Bulls and the Nets.
Bulls still got to make it in.
They haven't made the playoffs
yet.
Yeah,
correct.
They still got to play tomorrow for their teams.
Dude, I like the Bulls, bro. I mean, maybe not to win the whole damn thing, but sleeper pick to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Let's see if they get in after tomorrow, Ron.
They're going to beat Miami, that's for sure. I'll tell you that.
Horses.
Tell you that.
I think whoever wins that game is gonna lose to the Bucks regardless.
Right? Yeah, they're gonna get swept by the Bucks.
Bro, Giannis can't win all the time. Chill.
All right, so we gave our predictions. We gave our predictions on the first round of the playoffs, and we even gave you guys some finals predictions. But let's get to the draft. We're officially, let's give or take, like 14 days away. It's on April the 27th. So
that's wild.
2 weeks from today, we will be sitting here talking to you guys, watching the draft, hopefully on some stream and we don't get taken down. But we got the draft. There's been some movement. Justin, do you want to get straight to it? Let's do it. So yes. Everybody loves to talk about who's going number one, usually the quarterbacks. And this year, Justin and I, we've been talking about it on the big board. We talked about these guys, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. They've been the favorites to go, number one. They've been trading, CJ Stroud was number one or favored to go number one a couple of weeks ago after his pro day.
For about a month, he was favored one.
Yeah, for about a month. He was like, you can find him at minus 350. Now that's flipped all the other way per DraftKings. Bryce Young, minus 360. Just a little bit of background before I flip it to you guys. There seems to be a split in the house in terms of the power when it comes to Carolina and who wants to make the draft pick. You got the owner who's in love with Bryce Young. And then you got the coach who apparently favors CJ Stroud, who's pictured here on the right for those of you guys that are watching. So, Justin, you've been following it along all offseason, this battle for who's going to be the number one pick. Do you agree with Bryce Young? Would you take him? First of all, would you take him number one? And two, do you predict that he'll go number one based off all the news that's going on?
Well, if what's true about the owner, if that's true, I predict him going one because the owner's going to get his way. He's over the GM. The owner pays everybody's checks, writes everyone's checks, signs them. He's going to get his way. Would I pick Bryce Young over CJ Stroud? I wouldn't. I haven't seen a quarterback his size be successful long term. So no, I wouldn't pick Bryce Young number one overall. When you have a prototypical quarterback in CJ Stroud, who does amazing things in the pocket when you give him a good pocket. I wouldn't pick him over. I don't think he's athletically better than CJ Stroud.
And because your favorite team are the Buckeyes. Let's just be real.
So, but Ron, let me flip it to you. You're a known Roll Tide guy, or at least I've known you to be.
Way to flip it on it. Way to flip the script, Roland. Way to flip it.
You're a known Roll Tide guy, so I
Fuck
imagine you're gonna disagree with a little bit of what Justin said, but as unbiased as you can.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think about Bryce Young? Because we haven't heard your opinion on this quarterback. Would you take him number one? Do you think he is the number one quarterback, first of all? And do you predict him to go number one?
I'm taking him number one because he is the best college player on the field last year and the year before. He was the best player on all Alabama's team last year.
Caleb Williams doesn't exist last year. Okay.
He didn't have the weapons that other Alabama quarterbacks, have had. He's smart. He's maybe not.
He didn't have the quarterbacks. He had 4
receivers.
guys that were.
Receivers.
He was a receiver merchant. He had every good player. Smitty. He had Waddle. He's had players. It's ridiculous.
Last year?
Okay, not so much last year, but the year before when he won the Heisman. But to say that he's never had
Oh,
players is crazy.
Okay, that's why I'm saying. So
what a counterpunch, Ron. What a counterpunch.
I mean, Justin just said you give him all those weapons, he wins the Heisman. What do you do the next year? You totally deplete his team of any kind of offense besides himself.
And I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he's still on Alabama. I mean, let's
regardless of it, dude. I mean, regardless of it. I think CJ Stroud is a better athlete to me, but Bryce Young to me is very composed in the pocket. I don't think he makes many mistakes. He's a guy that can go in, and his IQ is so smart that he can be a starting quarterback right away. CJ Stroud is an athletic freak. I mean, don't get me wrong, but between the two, if you're a GM or if you're the team, who do you think is going to be there longer? Who do you think is going to get you more wins over their career? These guys aren't, players that are coming to win now. You're going to have them at least for hopefully at least 5, 6, 7 years. So overall, Bryce Young is the guy that you want to start your franchise around instead of CJ Stroud, in my opinion.
All right. So Ben, before you give your take, and I want to lead you into your take, do you pay? Because Ron said, you want to draft the guy that, you're drafting number one. So you want to be as sure as you can. I mean, This isn't the lottery. But I mean, it might as well be with some of this stuff because you never know what's going to hit. But what I want to ask you before you get to your take is, are you worried about Bryce Young's size? Are you worried about him being 5'10", 5'11"?
How many guys have we seen go number one that are little men like him? Kyler Murray. Who's the other dude that surprised everybody? Baker
Mayfield.
Come on, fam. I mean, this is. Obviously, still kind of follow the Texans a bit because of my timeline on Twitter. I didn't unfollow all of their beat writers just because I follow the Bills now. But the whole thing with them is that they love Bryce Young. I think that Carolina is going to do them a huge favor because, like Justin said, I agree with him. The owner's going to get his way. It's. I don't want to compare it to Jerry, but the owner gets his way. That's how it is most of the time. Brand new head coach, rebuilding franchise. The owner's going to get his guy. So the Texans are going to dodge a bullet, bro, in the fact that Bryce Young is not going to be there for them to pick. Do they go and take CJ Stroud or do they go and take, Anderson, the edge rusher from Alabama? That's, I think, where the draft starts. Obviously, the odds have flip-flopped. Here we are 2 weeks away from draft day. Bryce Young minus 360. Is there a chance that it probably flops the other way? Maybe, but with the info being out that the owner loves Bryce Young, I think that's why they're favoring it that way, and that's what's going to happen. So I do think Bryce Young's going to go number one. I would take CJ Stroud over Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Justin and Ben on who I would take. I would take CJ Stroud. We did have him as our number one quarterback on our big board, so I'm sticking with that. I wanted him to be the number one draft pick because I do have a ticket on him to be the number one pick, but that's not going my way right now. So I'm going to begrudgingly say that Bryce Young probably will get drafted number one because of all the reasons that these guys said. I mean, the owner gets his wish. He's the guy who cuts the checks, so he's going to get his guy. And I mean, I just personally wouldn't take a guy 5'10" at number one. I mean, that's somebody that you take a flyer on that you've known. Like, I think
and maybe 5'10". Let's be real. I saw him next to Kyler, and he looked shorter.
I mean,
CJ Stroud ain't the biggest dude, bro.
My whole thing is
like,
yes, this isn't the lottery.
He ain't cap.
I mean, you have a lot easier
That's
chance.
awesome. I like
You
that.
have a lot easier chance of picking the next like prototypical quarterback than picking like the next Drew Brees or picking the next Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? Because of their size. Like it's just, I mean, that's playing the lottery. You know, in my opinion, picking a guy that's 5'10" that's not going to be able to see over the line, that you're going to have to adjust a lot of stuff for.
Won
And
a
that's because
Super
I like
Bowl.
Bryce Young. He does a lot of good stuff. But yeah, but I mean, yeah, I
If-
don't know. I'm not all the way in on.
Bro, Ron, when this guy gets tackled by one of these defensive linemen, he's gonna be getting thrown like Tua.
He ain't gonna get tackled, cuz.
It's
Chill.
a rag doll, bro. He's just a little man, bro.
Ron's
Bro,
awesome.
CJ Stroud equals Justin Fields. Bryce Young equals Russell Wilson.
No.
That's it. I said it.
No. CJ
Yes.
Stroud doesn't run. He doesn't run. He's a quarterback.
He doesn't
CJ
even
Stroud
run.
is maybe
He doesn't
Tua.
run.
CJ
He
Stroud
doesn't
is
run, and you
Tua,
want him to
bro.
go number one. He doesn't
See-
run, and you want him
I
to
mean,
go
Bryce
number
Young
one.
is Tua.
I'm
Bryce
saying
Young
arm
is Tua.
first.
Yeah,
He's
Bryce
talented
Young
with
is
his
Tua.
arm.
Bryce Young is Tua. That's what he is. He's a little guy, and history
Ain't as
has told
stupid as
you
Tua, I'll
you
tell you
don't
that.
take those little guys at number one.
There's
because
only one little guy Super Bowl winner, and it's Breeze in this one time.
one time.
And Russell's huge or what?
Oh,
Ain't
that's
nobody
true. That's a
care
good point.
about
Russell
that.
got it. Yeah, that's
Not
Alan, I'm
nobody
taking care of
That was
these
nice,
guys
that was
tonight,
nice, Ron.
Alan.
Touche,
You see me,
touche.
Alan? You see me, Alan, taking care of these guys?
He was
in the
quick with
chat?
it. Touche, Ron.
Allen's with us. He says,
Allen's
let's be
with us
real.
on the height
Low
side.
QB
Yeah.
height has not been truly successful in the NFL, with the exception of Drew Brees. So he forgot Wilson also, but it's easy to forget that guy.
I mean,
bro.
there always comes
Clown.
that guy. I mean, there always
After
comes
this
that
year,
guy.
it's
I mean,
easy to
that's
forget Wilson.
Right, Ron, but do you want to bet on that one guy, or do you want to take the prototypical NFL quarterback, bro?
How
And
many
look at
times
the
has
game
that
he
worked
just had
out?
against Georgia. That Georgia defense that everybody was so scared of. He went, yes, he did have, two amazing wide receivers, but he made big throws in that game. I think that CJ Stroud is the best quarterback.
Okay, then I want to see tickets from you guys that you're taking CJ Stroud, because right now is the time to take him at plus 225.
No, we
No,
don't
but
think he's going to be
we
the
don't
number
think it's
one
gonna
pick.
happen. Yeah,
we
we're
don't
saying we
think
would.
he is.
So then what are we talking about? What's the argument about here?
We're just talking how it flipped. For a month, CJ
Yeah.
Stroud was one, and up until maybe Monday, it flipped. So we're just highlighting the flip.
And how it's going to be a bust of a pick.
Okay, so you guys are way smarter than the GMs.
And you.
It's the
Yeah, we'll
owner. It's not
see.
the GM. The
Hey,
Panthers GM wants CJ
Ron,
Stroud. The
Ron, you
owner
know how-
wants.
you know how
Where have
owners
you
can
been
be.
this whole
Ron,
convo?
Ron, you know how owners
He's
can
checked
be.
out, bro.
You
He's not
got-
locked in.
You got Jerry Jones. You know how these guys can
He's
be.
worried about Ja. Yeah, he's worried about
Yeah.
Ja. He's
Don't worry about
All right, let's
nothing,
wrap
bro.
up. Let's wrap
Yeah,
up.
let's
Let's
wrap it
do
up.
like 2 more minutes here. And I just want to talk about the Masters and what we saw Sunday,
You got
especially. And here it is, John Rahm getting his first green jacket. Roland, you know what it was? It was Live. It was versus PGA. What do you think of all this? What did you take away from the Sunday?
Well, what I took away from this Sunday is that John Rahm, a guy that people have been waiting for to, take, a step and be like a dominant type of star, I think is, just, checking the boxes in his, rise to superstardom in terms of being a golf, in the PGA Tour. So I that's my biggest takeaway. The other takeaway here for me was Brooks Koepka. Kind of a revival. I didn't expect him to be up towards the top of the leaderboard. He was one of the first round leaders with John Rahm and Victor Hovland. So got to give Koepka his props for sticking around up until that last round. But yeah, big props to John Rahm. Just wish it would have been a little bit closer down the stretch because he kind of had it in hand.
Do you work for the PGA, or why are you choosing to look over Phil Mickelson being tied for second place?
Well, I'm saying the biggest takeaway for me, I'm saying Brooks Koepka. I just talked about the Live right there.
Yeah, true. But even more than that, I mean,
Mickelsen's
Phil
Live too.
And Koepka,
Yeah, he's Live.
did you
Yeah.
guys watch the Swing documentary? Did you watch Brooks Koepka? He was a lost man. I mean, this is a guy that, I mean, from 2017 to 2019 was the best player on the planet. You're betting him to win every major pretty much the way that he was walking in and dominating. So
I feel like Brooke Koepka likes to party. That's what I feel.
But Ben, so you're one of your bigger takeaways here is Phil Mickelson.
I mean, obviously, I love Rambo, but yeah, Phil Mickelson. I don't think anybody expected him to make the cut, much less place second. I mean, yes, he was 4 shots off the lead, but Phil Mickelson at -8, I think we kind of expected the Tiger Woods treatment for Phil Mickelson at this stage in his career.
Hey, Ben,
he had better odds to miss the cut than make the cut.
Ben, do you think it was disrespectful to Mickelson when he finished on Sunday he was the leader for the day for that round. He could have been in play for a playoff. Hell, if Rom falls apart, he could even win this tournament. They don't even interview him at the clubhouse. He's the clubhouse leader.
Well, yeah.
What's up with that, man? Do you think that's disrespectful?
Well, he finished his round like 6 hours before fucking Rom.
No, it was about 2 hours before, and there was not one interview.
Not only that, they probably should interview the guy for being tied second. But when you have such strong words towards the PGA through your move to live, and you kind of orchestrated the whole live thing, no, I don't think that is disrespect. I think it's karma, and it's kind of they're just playing the same game with him. He knew what was coming, bro. I mean, this is kind of like if he went and won, yes, it'd be a big fuck you to the PGA Tour. But I think even finishing second place, and Brooks Koepka, you got 2 live golfers there tied for second place. Yes, the PGA guy and John Rahm won. I don't think it was disrespect just based off of, the words that Phil Mickelson has had for the PGA Tour in his, the
live days.
In him transitioning to live.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think anybody with his score gets interviewed regardless, just because it was just a crazy score and he finished, like Justin said, 2-3 rounds earlier. Now, if he's a leader going into the clubhouse or he's, maybe 1-2 strokes away, but let's not forget he shot a -765. So it wasn't like he was there and then he was a couple shots away. So I don't see it as disrespect. I just think that he was so far off the leaderboard that everybody knew that he wasn't going to win or not.
Well, he was sitting in second at that time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's disrespectful.
Yeah, but down 4 shots.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's disrespectful from the perspective of just looking at it from the lens that Ben.
It was down 2 shots when he finished, though. That's what seems crazy to me.
It was
-8 versus -10, and he just finished. He's the leader for that round. You go interview him. You say, hey, you might have a playoff to warm up about. What are you thinking about? There's time to kill.
You're forgetting everything that happened before.
Yeah, and
I'm not forgetting that. I'm just saying you put it away. This is the Masters. It's not about that.
And not only that, he did have one of the best rounds and one of the best Masters for a guy his age in terms of the score, like historical context. Like that's the whole thing about this. It wasn't just he went out there and had a shot of -8. It's just that he went out there at his age and he did that. People. You don't do that at Phil Mickelson's age. And the whole live thing had everything to do with it. If this happened 2 or 3 years ago and he hits that final birdie on 18 the way that he did, that's one of the biggest stories. That might be a bigger story than John Rahm winning it, if we're being real, just because of how beloved Lefty was before he went over to live. And that's even with all of the problems that he had with the gambling and stuff that we in the insider trading that we're not going to talk about. But I could see he was still a very lovable figure.
Now, I could see that point. Like, he's an OG golfer. Like, if that's Tiger and he has that round, it's like all over the news,
exactly.
So from that point, I do get it. But it wasn't Tiger.
All right, well, that's it, boys.
What do you guys think about?
Good show, good comeback, man.
We won't talk about Tiger though. That's too depressing.
Oh no, let's finish off with Tiger. Let's finish off with Tiger.
Let's just do 3 minutes, Tiger. We got 3 minutes to hit. Let's go with it.
You're always trying to put a limit on us.
Well, no, I mean somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to go. Someone's got to
go. You got to trim the fat somewhere. You got to.
I'm super hungry, bro. I'm super hungry.
Yeah. Same. Where are we going for dinner?
Is this Tiger's last major being played based on the way he looked? Is that where you were going, Roland, or what are we?
Well, I was just going with should he hang it up just based off the way he looked. He could barely walk. It looked troublesome. He did make the cut. Let's not forget all of that in this. And I will say it's one of the easier majors to make the cut in just because of the makeup of the field. But he did make the cut nonetheless. He had to withdraw. Ben, you automatically said yes.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Tiger fan. But yeah, it's time for him to hang it up. But he's the type that's going to hang it up and announce, this is my last tournament. It's going to be a fucking spectacle. Ticket prices are going to be the highest they've ever been for any golf tournament, and it's going to be the last time Tiger Woods plays professional golf. He's somebody who's going to announce it, not kind of just, hey, I'm done, I'm no longer playing.
Justin, you don't see him going on the senior tour and hooking up with John Daly?
No, he won't be out there with Fred Couples and those guys. No, that's not happening.
That's like too big.
It's like Ben said. It's going to be an announcement. Yeah. It might not even be a major. It might be something like Bridgestone Open or the Buick Open or whatever. And he's going to just all cameras on him for one more weekend, and it'll be great. It'll be awesome.
I wish he had enough in him to do one more tour.
Look, dare I say, going like when the PGA Tour season starts, I think he goes in and says that, like, this is gonna be my last year. I'm not gonna play.
Farewell tour.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play every single tournament, but I'll probably hit 3 out of the 4 majors, something like that. And then at every major, he's gonna get like, just like when the baseball players are retire, like when Miggy went to Houston and they gave him a freaking hat and they took a picture. I think he's gonna go to every course and then they're gonna commemorate him with something. And then that's it.
It's a long tour to do, man. To ask of him.
Yeah,
No. I mean, right. He's not gonna play every single one, but he'll play most of them, and that's it. I don't think he ever plays again. I think he's too big. His ego is too big, and he's not gonna go out there with Fred Couples and keep playing golf.
He's in too much pain playing.
He's gonna chill, dog.
He's
gonna
like,
chill, get his
that
endorsements. Like you said, commentate. Who doesn't want to see Tiger Woods commentate golf? He still has his sponsors. Like,
we all gotta start talking about. We gotta start talking about Charlie Woods, though.
Do you think
that's his future? That's where he'll be at, Roland.
True, yeah. Kind of like rest in peace, Kobe, with his daughter. His career's over. I'm gonna focus on my kids.
If he does what Ron said and maybe one more tour, do you think that maybe we see him on season 2 of the Netflix show?
Possibility.
Maybe.
He probably produces that show to get some money off it. He's like, all right, you want me to be on it? Give me some.
Ron's all about money. I love that.
It's smart. It's a
Did
smart
you
thing to do.
Air or what? That went no Viola Davis.
No, I actually haven't seen it yet.
I just think these guys have a lot of money. I don't know if Tiger's in it for the money at this point.
I mean, he lost a lot of money, lost a lot of endorsements. He's having to pay a lot of child support and a lot of divorce stuff.
But yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is that, even with all the time that Tiger gave himself to get ready for this tournament, still not there for him. So he probably should look at hanging it up soon on his terms. Because, I mean, he is one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT in golf. So, I mean,
biggest takeaway,
he goes out on his terms for sure.
Justin's mustache. Biggest takeaway. I love it.
Got my Vince McMahon mustache, Sean. So
I love
that's
it.
what we're doing today.
So farewell tour then. I want a farewell tour for Tiger. I want.
Gotta hit the VTO. I'll go.
Yeah, he ain't coming to the Valero Open.
I'm gonna go heel and hit Liv up.
All right, boys. Crazy. It's a wrap.
Show, man.
An hour and 30 minutes of live content.
That's a variety.
It's good to be back. Thanks for everybody who tuned in with us, liked, shared, and followed. Thank you all, man. That was dope. It's good to be back.
Yep. Peace, man. Thanks for watching.
Peace.